Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today, we're going deep on something that really blew my mind getting ready for this matrix code. And honestly, prepping for this, it totally changed how I think about digital stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you sent over a bunch of articles and research, and what really blew me away is that matrix code. It's not just about images or videos, right?
Right.
It can, protect ownership for almost any digital file. Right. Seriously, we're talking about everything from, the manuscript for your next novel
Oh, wow.
to the code for, some killer app you're building. Even, those weird temporary files your computer makes. It's it can cover all that stuff.
Yeah, it really is fascinating how it works. It's not just like a digital signature that's, just slapped onto a file. We're talking about using some pretty complex algorithms to generate a unique fingerprint. And that fingerprint is based on the content of the file.
Okay.
And then it's embedded, deep within the file's structure. So it makes it super difficult to remove or even tamper with.
So wait, are you saying it's not just adding something to the file? It's weaving this code into the actual data itself?
Exactly.
That's way more secure than I thought.
Yeah, it's like DNA for your digital creation. So no matter how many times a file is copied or shared or even slightly modified, that matrix code, it remains there and it's persistently linked back to you, the original creator.
Okay, that makes sense. But I was reading through the research and something kind of freaked me out, honestly. It said that even just small changes to a file can create a totally new matrix code. So if I tweak my, my masterpiece, does that mean I have to restart that whole protection process?
That's where matrix code copyright comes in, or UCC for short.
Okay, so UCC is the next level of this whole system.
Yeah, think of it as the glue that holds everything together. So when you register a file with UCC, you're not just locking in that single version, right? You're creating a lineage of ownership. So any future versions or even copies that are derived from that original file, they're all automatically linked back to your initial registration, even if the individual matrix codes have changed.
So it's like having a family tree for my files, right? With the UCC registration as the root.
Yeah.
And all the future edits are branching out from there.
Precisely.
But my ownership claim stays solid throughout.
Yeah, it's a brilliant solution to that challenge of, protecting digital work that's always evolving.
All right, color me impressed. But let's get down to brass tacks here. How does UCC registration work practically?
Well, it's not a quick click and done type of thing, right?
Right.
UCC takes verification seriously to, make sure the whole system is solid and reliable. So for example, let's say you're registering an image.
Right.
They'll use sophisticated tools, to analyze its metadata, compare it against existing works. They'll even check for things like, hidden watermarks and stuff. Yeah, and if it's a text document, they'll run it through plagiarism checkers and, that.
Hold on, I was reading about, there's something called a matrix code comparator, right?
Oh, yes.
What's that all about?
That's where it gets really interesting. So imagine you've got two people, totally independently, they both create almost identical files. Which happens more often than you'd think, especially for simple logos or, basic graphic design.
Look, I see how that would be a nightmare to figure out, proving who created what first, right?
Exactly. So the matrix code comparator, it basically solves that problem. It acts as a referee, right? It analyzes the matrix codes of those potentially similar files. And it figures out if they're actually unique creations or if it's just someone copying and making small tweaks.
Wow.
So it helps prevent fraudulent registrations, makes everything fair for everyone.
It's like a digital detective that can sniff out shady attempts to, steal someone's work and be like, hey, that's not yours.
That's a great way to put it. It adds that layer of trust and security to the whole UCC ecosystem.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get why you were so blown away by all this. It's a whole new world of possibilities is opening up for creators. But let's talk about what happens after registration. So my file's scanned, it's verified, it's deemed original. What happens then?
Well, once your file passes all the checks, it's officially given its own unique matrix code, right?
Okay.
It's like a digital birth certificate for your creation. And then some basic details about the file might be added to a public registry. But the actual content, of course, stays private.
So if someone sees, my photo online, how would they know it's registered and protected by UCC?
There are ways to embed invisible markers within the file itself.
Okay.
That signal its UCC registration. So,
So it's like a little hands-off warning.
Yeah, exactly. A subtle one.
That's clever. Like a virtual security system built right in.
And this is where we get into the really groundbreaking potential of matrix code. It's not just about proving ownership, but establishing a new paradigm for how we actually, value and exchange digital creations.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. So we've covered, how matrix code works, why UCC is so important, but I'm dying to know, how does this all translate into real world impact?
Okay, let's imagine you're a photographer, right? You've captured these amazing photos and you're eager to share them online, but you're also worried about someone stealing your work, right?
Okay.
That's every creator's nightmare. Well, with ECC, you can share those photos freely,
Right.
knowing that even if someone tries to crop them, edit them, or re-upload them somewhere else, your ownership is it's irrefutable. But it goes even further than that.
Okay, tell me more.
So let's say a company wants to use one of your photos for, a commercial campaign or something.
Right.
Without UCC, negotiating those usage rights and, making sure you're compensated fairly, it can be a huge headache. But with UCC, it's streamlined. The company can easily verify your ownership, agree on the terms, and they can even automate the royalty payments,
Well, look.
all thanks to that embedded matrix code.
Wait, so you're saying this could help creators actually get paid, fairly, for their work?
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's the power of, clear ownership in the digital world. It levels the playing field, gives creators the leverage they need to protect their work, their livelihood.
Honestly, this is mind-blowing. It really is, like you said, a paradigm shift in how we value and interact with digital creations.
And we're just scratching the surface. The potential applications of this, they go way beyond images, right? Think about musicians protecting their songs, writers safeguarding their manuscripts, even software developers securing their code.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for any field where digital creation is king.
Okay, before we get too lost in all the possibilities of the future here, let's take a breath and recap what we've learned. So we've established that matrix code is this incredibly robust system for embedding a unique fingerprint within really any digital file, ensuring its authenticity and traceability. And then there's UCC, which acts as that central registry, linking all versions of a file back to the original creator, even through all those edits and modifications. And all of this leads to a future where creators have, more control, more security, and potentially even more earning power in the digital world. Right?
Yeah.
So for you, what stands out from all this? What's that one thing that's making your brain buzz?
What's really fascinating to me is how matrix code is bridging that gap between the physical and digital worlds when it comes to ownership. We take it for granted that like a painting or a sculpture has a clear owner, but digital creations have always existed in this like nebulous space where copying and sharing are so easy. Matrix code, it brings that same sense of tangible ownership to the digital realm, which could have huge implications for how we, create, share, and value everything from art to intellectual property.
That's a fantastic point. It's like we're seeing the birth of a new era for digital creativity.
Yeah.
One where creators are like truly empowered and innovation can really flourish. But hold on to your hats, deep divers, because in the next part, we're going to delve into the world of AI-generated content and how matrix code is tackling those mind-boggling complexities of ownership in that realm. Stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get even wilder. Okay, we're back and ready to dive into something that's both super exciting and a little bit mind-bending, AI-generated content. When I first started digging into this, I'll admit, I had a ton of questions.
Oh, yeah.
Can you even own something an AI helped create? But thankfully, the research you sent over really helped clear things up, especially when it comes to how matrix code and UCC handle this whole new frontier.
Yeah, what's really important to understand is that UCC, it doesn't just blindly give a thumbs up or thumbs down to all AI-generated content. They've got specific criteria that really emphasize the role of human creativity in the process.
So it's not like I can just, feed a prompt into some AI art generator, sit back, and then claim ownership of whatever masterpiece it spits out.
Right, you're absolutely right. The sources are very clear on this. To be eligible for UCC registration, an AI-generated file, it has to demonstrate significant human input.
Okay.
Think of the AI as a powerful tool, like a supercharged 3D modeling program or, a songwriting partner that never gets writer's block.
Right.
But it's still the human artist, the designer, the musician, who's providing the vision, the direction, the creative spark that's guiding the AI's output.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But how do you actually prove that human element? I mean, you can't record your thoughts while you're working with an AI, right?
That's where the concept of transparency comes in. When you register AI-generated work with UCC, you have to be really upfront about the role the AI played. You need to clearly articulate your own unique contribution to the final product.
So are we talking about documenting things like the specific prompts I gave the AI, the parameters I set, the artistic choices I made throughout the whole process, almost keeping a detailed creative journal alongside the AI's work?
That's exactly it. The more detailed and specific your documentation is, the stronger your case for ownership becomes. It's all about demonstrating that you weren't just passively accepting whatever the AI produced, right? But that you were actively shaping and guiding that creative outcome.
So it's like saying, hey, yes, I used this incredible AI tool, but look at what I did with it. Look at the choices I made. This is my vision, but brought to life with the help of AI.
That's a perfect way to put it. It really highlights how human creativity, intention, and decision-making are still at the heart of even AI-assisted creations.
This brings up a question that kind of bugged me when I was reading through the research. What if I use an AI tool that's known for having a very particular output? Let's say it's an AI music composer that specializes in creating, epic orchestral soundtracks. How much creative freedom do I actually have in that scenario?
That's a great question, and it's something UCC addresses directly. Even within those, constraints of a specialized AI tool, you still have to demonstrate your unique contribution to that final work.
So if I'm using this epic soundtrack AI, I can't just claim ownership of any soaring John Williams-esque theme it generates.
Not exactly. You need to show how your specific choices, like the mood you were going for, the instrumentation you selected, the subtle tweaks you made to the AI's composition, all those things resulted in a final product that's distinct and original, even within that established style of the tool.
It's like saying, okay, yes, I use the same musical building blocks as Beethoven, but listen to the symphony I created with them.
Exactly. It all boils down to, demonstrating your individual creative fingerprint, even within a recognizable style or framework.
It's amazing how ECC is walking this tightrope, between embracing the power of AI and making sure that human creativity is still central to the process. But let's get practical for a sec. Let's say I've poured my heart and soul into an AI-assisted masterpiece. I've meticulously documented every step of my creative journey, and I'm ready to register it with the ECC.
Yeah.
Are there any specific hoops I need to jump through for AI-generated works?
Well, the verification process we talked about earlier, checking for originality, comparing against existing works, all that applies to all files. But for AI-generated content, there's an extra layer of scrutiny. This is especially true for images.
So they're basically making double sure that even though AI was involved, my work is truly original and not just a copycat of something that already exists.
That's the gist of it, yeah. They want to make sure you're not just taking credit for something the AI basically created on autopilot.
Right.
They're looking for clear evidence of your creative vision and direction.
It's like ECC is saying, hey, we're excited about AI and all, but we're not going to let it turn into a free-for-all for plagiarism.
Precisely. Maintaining ethical standards and respecting intellectual property rights, those are paramount no matter what tools are used to create.
Speaking of ethics and transparency, I was really struck by the fact that ECC openly indicates whether a registered file was created with AI assistance. Why is that so important?
I think it's brilliant, honestly. By being upfront about the role of AI, they're promoting informed decision making, and that fosters a greater sense of trust within the whole creative ecosystem. Imagine you're an art collector and you're browsing a digital gallery. Wouldn't you want to know if a piece was created by a human artist or with the help of AI?
It would definitely influence my perception of it, its value, even my willingness to buy it.
Exactly. It's all about providing context and transparency, empowering both the creators and the users to make those more informed choices.
This transparency could even lead to some really interesting conversations,
Yeah.
right? About the nature of art itself. What does it even mean to be a creator in the age of AI? Where do we draw the line between like human and machine creativity?
Those are the big questions, aren't they? And I think UCC, by being so transparent about the role of AI, it's helping shape those conversations in a positive way.
It's like they're saying, look, let's not shy away from the fact that AI is changing the creative landscape. Let's embrace it, but let's also be clear about how it's being used and who ultimately holds those creative reins.
That's a great way to summarize it. It's about creating a future where AI empowers human creativity rather than replacing it.
I'm honestly buzzing with ideas right now. This whole deep dive into AI-generated content and UCC's approach has been eye-opening, to say the least. But before we move on, let's just like quickly recap. So we learned that UC doesn't just rubber stamp all AI-generated content, right? They require proof of significant human input. They demand transparency about the AI's role, and they've even got those extra verification steps in place to ensure originality. And I think maybe most importantly, they're promoting a culture of openness by clearly labeling works that were created with AI assistance. So for you, what resonates most about this whole approach? What thoughts are swirling around in your head right now?
You know, what I find particularly encouraging is that ACC is really addressing those ethical considerations surrounding AI and creativity. It's not just a technical solution for, registering and protecting files. They're establishing a framework that encourages responsible use of AI, right? That prioritizes human creativity and promotes transparency within the whole creative process, which raises a crucial question for me. Could this framework, this emphasis on ethical and transparent AI integration, be applied to other fields beyond just, the creative arts?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
It's like what UCC is doing has implications that reach far beyond just like music, art, and literature. We're talking about setting a precedent for how we interact with AI in like all aspects of our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
But hold that thought, deep divers, because that's a conversation we'll pick up in our final segment. We'll explore the wider implications of matrix code and UCC, and maybe even take a peek into the future of what this technology could mean for all of us. Okay, deep divers, we've made it to the final part of our matrix code journey, and wow, I feel like we've uncovered some seriously groundbreaking stuff, right? We've explored like the tech behind it, the whole registration process, even how this all plays into AI-generated content. But now I want to take a step back and ask like the big question. Why should the average person care about this? Is this just for, professional artists, tech wizards? Or is there something here for, the rest of us?
That's a question I think a lot of people are asking. And the answer, it might surprise you. We live in a world where we're all creators in some way, right? Think about it. You snap a photo on your phone and it perfectly captures a moment. Or you write a heartfelt blog post that connects with people. You even design a, killer presentation for work that gets everyone excited. That's all digital content, and it's something you created.
Okay, I get that we're like creating more than ever before, but is matrix code really relevant to like everyday stuff like that?
It can be, absolutely. Imagine, you share that amazing photo online and it goes viral. Suddenly it's everywhere, but nobody even knows you took it. People are using it without your permission, maybe even making money from it. It's a situation that, that happens all the time online.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen that happen to friends who are photographers. And it's incredibly frustrating.
It is, but with, with matrix code and UCC registration, you've got that proof of ownership, and it's irrefutable. It's like a digital watermark that's embedded in your work that says, hey, this is mine, and here's the proof.
So it's not just about preventing theft then. It's about like making sure creators get the recognition they deserve, no matter how big or small their work is.
Exactly. And as those lines between, professional and amateur creators, they get blurrier. Having a system like this becomes even more important. It levels that playing field, and it gives everyone the tools to protect their work.
The research you sent also mentioned something I found really intriguing. The idea that matrix code could actually change how we think about the value of digital stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. For so long, there's been this disconnect, right, between how easy it is to copy and share digital content and the real effort and creativity that goes into making it.
It's like the internet has made us think everything digital should be free, even though it might have taken someone, hours, days, even years to create it.
You got it. And that mindset, it's made it really tough for creators to, to earn a living from their work. But with matrix code, with UCC, there's a chance to shift that perception.
Okay, so how does matrix code actually translate into tangible value? Give me some real world examples.
Okay, let's go back to that scenario where, your photo went viral. Imagine a company wants to use it for a marketing campaign or something.
Right.
Without UCC, it can be a nightmare trying to track down who's using it, let alone negotiating those usage rights and getting paid fairly. But with UCC, that company, they can instantly verify your ownership, right? Contact you directly, even set up those automated royalty payments through the platform.
Hold on, so it's not just protecting your work from being stolen, it's about creating a system where creators can actually benefit financially, from their work being used.
Yeah, it's pretty revolutionary.
It is, and it goes beyond individual creators too, right?
Of course.
Imagine musicians seamlessly tracking how their songs are being used across all the streaming platforms, making sure they're getting paid.
Exactly.
Or think about writers protecting their manuscripts from plagiarism.
Yeah.
And being able to easily license their work.
It opens up a lot of doors.
It's like matrix code is laying the foundation for a whole new economy for digital stuff.
I think so.
It's incredible to think about. Okay, before we wrap up, gotta ask, what about the future? Did the research hint at what's next for matrix code?
One of the most exciting things mentioned is integrating matrix code with blockchain technology. That would create these immutable ownership records, essentially etching that proof of ownership into the fabric of the internet.
Wow, that's next level stuff. It sounds like it would make disputes over ownership practically impossible.
That's the idea.
Deep divers, I think it's safe to say that matrix code isn't just some cool tech innovation. It's a potential game changer for how we think about creativity and ownership in this digital age. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's that one big takeaway that's sticking with you?
For me, it's realizing that matrix code is more than just a tool. It's a catalyst for, empowering creators, fostering a deeper respect for digital creations, and ultimately building a more equitable and transparent digital ecosystem. So as you think about all this, think about this question. How might matrix code change how you create and share in this digital world?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. What opportunities does it open up for you? And how could it impact your own creative journey?
Those are fantastic questions to ponder. A huge thanks to you for joining us on this deep dive. It's been an incredible journey. And for all you deep divers out there, keep those curious minds engaged. And we'll see you next time for another exciting exploration. Until then, happy creating.